Scholarly publishing, like society, will be undergoing tremendous upheaval in the next decade and beyond. And we have a responsibility to society to ensure that we are part of the discussion of how the new world is made. How do we do that? Open access is the backbone of the solution. We've been hearing throughout this conference and just now about collaboration and cooperation, new models of realigning ourselves. I'm afraid, however, they're just not radical enough, given the realities that I've described. If I were king of American University Press Publishing, I'd say this. Even if I'm only half right about the economic, ecological, and environmental catastrophes I'm foreseeing, and unfortunately, the term faster than expected keeps popping up in all these stories, then we have a responsibility to change. Change our relationship to CO2 and energy-intensive production. Change our sense of ourselves and what we do and the products we make. Change to what? For as long as I've been in this business, the trend among business-minded press directors has been to try to distance his or her press from its parent institution, to be its own business, be distinct, be separate, to control our identity, and most importantly, our own logo. Now, this annual meeting has been refreshing in that that's not been the primary discussion, but it is important that we're starting to move in that direction. But in this new world, that direction, I was trying to say, separate from our institution is a mistake. Today, and planning for the next decade, it's crazy to think that we can continue doing what we've been doing for the last 50 years. We should be striving to cleave to our parent institutions, not stay separate. We should find every way to publicly brand scholarly publishing and your university's press and its value of scholarship on campus. University press publishing needs a new message. And perhaps that message is something along these lines. Scholarly publishing is a vital part of a larger scholarly communication system and must be preserved. University presses also recognize that we have a societal responsibility. We recognize that the life cycle, energy, and CO2 costs of printing, shipping, storing, and distributing physical books must be radically curtailed. To retain the qualities of scholarly communication, we will radically shift if you will step up to the plate. Does that mean giving up some control? Does that mean collaborating more? Yes. Does that mean innovating our way out of a failed system? Well, yeah. Does that mean embracing various forms of open access in exchange for institutional support? Of course. Does that mean rethinking the economics and the cost recovery systems and the sustainability models of scholarly publishing based on a collapsing physical world? Yes. Within the context of a world in crisis, we must demonstrate that we're radically rethinking our relationship to the future. We must demonstrate that we are part of the solution, not part of the problem. We must seize initiative now and start making changes as fast as we can. Open access and plus digital publishing will help get us to a sustainable world and keep us in the mix. Imagine, in 5 years, a different income stream where 50% of your income comes from some kind of value-added digital sales, 25% from print on demand, and 25% through institutional support of fixed costs. Dissemination and societal impact will increase 50 times because the material is openly available and promoted online. With that kind of documented dissemination of scholarly value and university brand to the broadest public, no dean would be motivated to cut the support that enables scholarship to thrive online. And our CO2 production will be radically decreased. We must develop a different model because the print model is frankly unsustainable. If we don't make these kinds of changes, we will be knowing participants in the death spiral. If we passively stumble along doing what we've been doing, tepidly experimenting with digital publishing and open access, our products will become increasingly marginalized, our societal value increasingly questioned, our markets decreasing, and the price of production and distribution will not only be expensive, but will be abusive of an increasingly fragile environment. Of course we must live in the market of today, and of course we must make the smartest business decisions we can every day. But we also need to be strategizing for our future. This next 10 to 15 years will not just be complicated. I think it'll be traumatic. If we want to survive to carry on the ideals of what we hold true, the missions of our respective presses, we must shift to a digital primary publishing model ahead of the curve instead of behind it. In a world of ever-growing surfeit of content and distraction, and the clamor of voices for simplistic solutions to systemic problems becomes deafening, we must promote our value to society to justify our continued existence. Further, we must brand ourselves as becoming part of the CO2 solution to our administrators and institutions as part of their external messaging. Brand ourselves with the public as a key part of a civilized world trying to save itself. Brand ourselves as rethinking our relationship with scholarly communication, as quality in the sea of content by being openly accessible digitally. Promote ourselves as promoters of intellectual rigor and quality online. Look, finally, scholarly publishing's role in the world must be delinked from print publication. The print book must become the exception, not the rule, as soon as possible. Cheap everything, bought on credit, paid for by the future, is finished. Civilization will be paying for it for the next 50 to 100 years. For the last 50 years, printing was merely the best way for us to do and perform our job. And what job was that? Finding a way to have really smart people get paid enough to help produce a lush ecosystem of intellectual ferment of very, very high quality. Please, don't write me off as a doomer. But I hope I scared the hell out of you. I don't say any of this lightly. I'm not an open access zealot. It's not a religious thing with me. As I said over and over and over again, in the end, open access is just a business model for fulfilling our mission. But today, knowing what I know about the looming crises, it's a business model that is likely our only means of long-term survival. University presses must rethink and recast our profiles within our institutions. We must insist on frank discussions with our provosts, our deans, funders, departments, about how to restructure ourselves to dramatically reduce our carbon output by radically restructuring our business models. Not put us on the dole, but help underwrite the cost of making our material open access, so we can continue to enrich the intellectual environment we call scholarship, and also, perhaps, help save our world.